call to order the special council meeting for the budget work session Wednesday, May 20th. It was to start at 3 o'clock. The press and public have been notified according to the Freedom of Information Act? Yes. Thank you. Who has our application?
I have it, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Thomas.
Prayer, Mayor, if you will. God, our Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this beautiful day. Thank you so much for allowing us to gather here today to discuss our city's budget, and just please allow us to do your will that you created us to do, and do the best job that we can to help our people, but also help our city employees and help our city continue to move forward. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, just a quick note about Councilmember Hall. She is working her day job, which everybody knows that she has, and in the past, city managers would make sure that all of council could be available for a budget meeting, and that did not happen. She is not here through no fault of her own. She will join us at 4 o'clock, so just want to make sure that y'all know she is not intentionally slighting anybody. All right, so we have discussion of proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 general fund budget.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to introduce Melissa Harrell, who's going to talk to us as a consultant we've hired to bring on to help us with the budgeting process, and she's going to discuss the revenues to start us out.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I am retired public servant and have the pleasure of being able to come in and be of assistance and use some of this old experience of mine, hopefully to some good use. The good news is, first off, I want to tell you that contrary to my usual circumstances coming in, your revenue situation is in very solid shape. We've got a number of transfers and things and some things to run down, but as soon as we catch up with a few things, you'll be even better. So as of right now, you are 104% of your budget. So you've still got 2 months of revenues to bring in. So pat yourself on the back. A good chunk of that, though, just to make sure you remember that you have been awarded an RIA grant from the state of, I don't know the exact amount, $6+ million. So that's also helping. So if you see any expenses, know that all of that is offset and in good shape. So with that, I will, in front of you, you have a roll-up of the revenues and expenditures. We've been able to pull the 25 actual, your 26 budget as you adopted it, and the proposed revenues and expenditures for 27. Mike has, and Wes, they have gone through line by line on the expenses so they can address any questions you may have by the departments. This is a roll-up just because if we printed out the entire budget, it'd be voluminous. If you wanted to see all of the lines, we certainly can show it to you by department, which is not so voluminous, if you so wish. It has been kept very, as we have discussed, it has been kept very tight and equal to the current year. The only thing, it does include a COLA that's embedded in here. On the revenue side, Leslie and I have gone through the revenues literally line by line for the collections for the current year and for 25 to look at trends. And this is a conservative approach because I've been here all of 2 weeks for 2 days a week. So I don't want to presume to know the depth of your city. So want to be careful with that. So this is where we are landing at the moment. A majority of this increase on the proposed does include some rate adjustments on the utility side. So you can see the column 1 is 27 as proposed by staff. 26 is the budget as adopted. The third column is the change from 26 to 27. And just for historical purposes, the 25 is the actual collected, for you to just have some comparison and see the trend. I will attempt to answer any questions. If you do have any questions, by all means, ask. If I can't answer them or Leslie cannot, I promise you we will look into it and get right back to you. Yes, sir.
Correction. I'm sure we already started our budget season. I guess we might start in April, early May. With inflation, obviously some conflicts are outside of our control. Was that taken into account, the external things that is happening in the world that could drive up inflation and affect our budget?
I think I must have paid you beforehand, because you just gave me my next piece of paper, and I appreciate it very much.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
Your next piece of paper is a quick illustration of your millage bank. And does everybody understand what the millage bank is? If not, since I helped create this legislation, I can certainly
Why don't you go
explain
through
it to
real
you.
quick for us?
Certainly. The millage bank was created, gosh, you were on the board, I think, at the time, back in 2011. And what it does is, because of you having your hands tied with the millage cap, this allows you to go back and capture some of your embedded growth on your millage, but it does not allow you to go beyond this cap. So what you can do is you can go back and the state, the Office of Revenue and Fiscal Affairs actually publishes what your cap is, and that calculation of your cap each year is the CPI plus whatever population growth that has occurred per the census for that year, prior year. The census has distributed the data to the state. The state has not yet given us that last component of the current year. So there's a little bit that we might have to add to this in the next day or two. So that is the millage bank. And that is the only way you can raise your millage, is within this cap plus your millage bank, which is the current year plus 3 years. The last time you raised your millage, naturally, no, I guess you did it in 24. You would have taken old millage that was prior to the cap. So right now, you have 8%, which was the cap for tax year 23. Then 24 was 4.12, which is the fourth column in the top chart. Last year was 2.95. This year, the CPI is 2.63. So there will be a small factor that will be in addition to this. So if you were to take the entire bank, it would be 17.7% applied to your current millage of 62.1. If you look down to the second chart, this is, the first column is obviously your millage rate. The highlighted, I'm gonna come back to why it's highlighted in a second. But for scenarios, if you were to take 5% of your bank, that would be equal to 3.11 mils with a total millage rate of 65.21. Given a 95% collection rate, that should bring dollars into the city of $220,289. Are you with me? Does that make sense so far? All right. So I said I'm coming back to the highlighted. Because that 8% in the top chart is the oldest of the cap, if you do not take advantage of that, at the very least, you will lose it forever. And you'll never see that kind of capacity anywhere in the near future. That was an anomaly back in the day, and I doubt very seriously we'll see that much again. So just know that my recommendation would be to at least take, yes, sir.
A quick question. So 2 years ago, hopefully I'm not wrong, but I feel like I heard that we were proposed to do an 8 mil increase 2 years ago, and that if we didn't do it, we'd lose it. So you're telling me that we
That would have been
lost-
prior years.
Okay, so prior years. So now we're back at the 8% now, correct? Okay, just want to clarify.
To my knowledge.
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
And would you put that down? But I'll double check. I'll go back 4 more years
Yes, ma'am.
and just double check, just to give you comfort.
Okay.
So if you were to do the 8%, that would bring in the door 352,462. This is, please understand, this is just a ballpark estimate. And if you wanted to know how this is calculated, in 2024, you had a total assessed property value, if you'll look down towards the bottom, of $74,680,000. I gave you a little bit of growth over the 2-year period to $78,414,000, which increase is $3.7 million at 95% collection, meaning everything you bill, you're not going to bring in property tax revenue. So that's how I got to the $352,000. To circle back to your question, the reason why I wanted you to see this first, so you understand what your limitations are. At the bottom, you'll see I did pull the CPI. The CPI is the Consumer Price Index, which is also referred to as your inflation factor. If you were to take April of this year to April of last year, that's a 2.9%. We have not begun to feel the effects of what has occurred in the last 6 weeks. So May and June, my best guess we're going to see significant jumps in our inflation or your CPI. So I think you're very wise to ask that question, because if you don't raise your millage and put aside a cushion to handle these increased transportation costs, because I mean, initially you're going to have police and fire with the gas, you're going to have your utilities, but remember, every single thing that has to be transported in this country is going to go up. So probably every one of your expenses, whether it's the paper that goes in the Xerox machine or anything else, it's going to be increased. Did I answer your question?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. I'm sorry, I was agreeing with you. Yes,
No,
ma'am.
I'm
Thank
just-
you. I appreciate that.
Just let me know.
I'm just, no, because that's important to know. You know, if this didn't happen now, well, we would have had already approved our budget, and then conflict would have happened.
Yes.
We would have been SOL, so at least we have an opportunity to consider that as we move forward. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions?
Do we have neighboring millage rates? I have some old data, and this may even be from, it could be from 2024, that says that West Columbia's millage was 72.8 at that time. So I'm assuming they're even higher now, so we'd still be below.
I know you're below West Columbia and the city of Columbia, but I have not done that analysis.
Yeah, that's okay.
We were just trying to get this first, and if that's of importance to know before second reading, we can certainly do that analysis.
I mean, I think that would be helpful, because, you know, we did our council retreat with a lot of the department heads, and, you know, we talked then about how, oh, it's great, we have some of the lowest taxes and fees in the region, but, you know, as Betsy said, that's a problem. We're not keeping up with things, you know, and we found out in the utility budget that the prior city manager refused to let staff tell council the truth about what the requirements and the needs were for the budget. So we may have more revenues this year, but we didn't take care of the expenses we needed to last year. And so it's interesting that even if we did the full 17.7 to catch up, we'd still be lower than our neighbors on fees and taxes.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, okay, that would be helpful to have that for sure.
Any other than West Columbia and the city of Columbia, what other any particular peers you want in the analysis?
I mean, I say West Columbia City, Columbia, what else would y'all like? Anybody?
How about Lexington?
Sure.
We're doing it twice what Lexington is.
I'm sorry?
We're doing it twice what Lexington, Town of Lexington. Because they got commercial properties on that Waterloo. They don't need them. They got business license of other resources. And West Columbia, this past budget, they did not have an increase in anything. But I don't recall doing that. Basically, right.
Yeah, they were already at 72.814. And like I said, this could be 2023 or 2024, I'm not sure which. So several years ago, they were already much higher than we were.
I guess for me, obviously I wasn't on council in 2023 and 2022, but to my knowledge, there were no millage increases then. I know we were starting to get out of COVID, but inflation was dramatically going up, so I would love to know if we're getting those numbers, whether those cities also did small increases those years as well. So,
Well, you had reassessment, looks like in
Okay.
'21, and so I assume reassessment's coming next year in Lexington. So you're gonna roll back your millage, which is fine. So that's politically, that, just understand that you're gonna have a decrease naturally.
okay.
But, I mean, it's revenue neutral, because you're increased your assessment rates.
Okay. Okay, I got you. I appreciate that. Thank you for explaining that.
Anything else?
And at the moment, we are projecting revenues of $19,787,640. And at this present time, so we were going to present to you a balanced budget with those revenue numbers in mind. And we can talk about some options as the day goes on. Yeah.
Just make sure that's with no millage increases, or that's just,
That is with no increases, this is what we have.
okay, thank you.
And you said there was a COLA, what is the COLA?
The cost is around $322,000,
No,
4%. We put a
what
4%.
Huh?
We have a 4% calculated
4%,
on it.
okay.
And then this total does not include that 4%. That 4% COLA is not in our revenue numbers in this particular month. I show you built out, but it's not embedded in the numbers.
Okay,
We
I
can
thought
put
you
the
said
COLA.
it did include a COLA.
Some of the salaries have included it in, from some of the calculations that was given to me, but
The salary numbers that I used did not have the COLA embedded. I did show you in each department what the COLA would cost for each department if we did want to do the COLA. So I did not balance the budget with the COLA at this particular moment.
I apologize.
That's
We've
not-
had so
not your
many,
fault. You're good.
no, we've had so many different sets of numbers. I'm still trying to learn it.
Yeah. If there's no further questions on the revenue side, we'll move on to the budget side. I'm going to present fairly quickly a couple of items. So as far as the administration budget goes for the next fiscal year, I have not asked for any increases. Actually, we're down just a little bit, just based off of some of our
Mike, can you tell us where we are?
Yes, ma'am, we're on 1110, city administration.
Should be page 1.
Should be paid. And unfortunately, we did the printouts, the budgets are by alphabetical order, they're not by number. We didn't get a chance to adjust those. Any questions on the city administration side? Again, we're holding And if we did want to add a COLA, the COLA would cost, for this particular one, $32,652. It's up on the right, top right-hand side.
Okay, so we're not in sync with that.
That's not the same as this.
What is that? I don't know. We got
She's the one.
Turn it off. It should be this one.
This is it?
that doesn't, that has the COLA on it.
That's right.
Yeah, I figured it out. That'll work.
Yeah, so he's got, each department's got the COLA up in the right-hand side, for what it would be for the total salary.
Right, but I'm
Yeah, it's up there on the little, it's kind of on that screen right here. It's a COLA.
Up there, 'cause that's these.
So what do you want us to, are you walking us through anything on here, or?
No, ma'am, again, we don't have any, I'm just going through what the differences in the departments are from year to year. On this one, we did not change any of the budgeting from 26 to 27. Again, it went down on some of this because of some of the fringes decrease, or projected to decrease in this particular department. So there is a small decrease in the total budget on this department. Personnel-wise, on the administration, of course, we do have the assistant city manager. The only one that's not on this one is Betsy. She stays on the utility side for the assistant city manager. The public works director is up under administration. Carly's salary, secondary salary is up under administration. Of course, the clerk and HR are also under on those particular line items.
So, Mike, quick question. So is Betsy, I know when Wesley started, Wesley was number 3, you were number 2, and Jim was number 1 last year. Is Betsy our number 3? Would she fill that gap, or are you just gonna keep her at utilities?
Well, she'll stay at the utilities, but we moved her as a city manager, so she is number 3.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
The next item we'll go to is the legislative, which is council. For the most part, it's 1101.
And it's page 11 on your sheets.
Page 11.
Is that not right?
Is it page 11?
Legislative, it should be page 11.
Wesley, you said page 11?
On page 12.
Oh, is it, I'm sorry, printed out a little bit differently on y'all's.
It's okay. Read there.
That's the way you printed it.
So for the legislative, we did not, again, add any changes to this year's budget. It does go down because this is a non-election year, so we don't have that $18,000 we usually budget for elections. So we do decrease that. That's the decrease you see in there. Some FICA went down as calculated by finance, so it's sitting relatively same as it was for the 26 fiscal year. Any questions on that or any suggestions? Community relations, again, I stayed consistent with all of the requests we have for,
Do we know where that was?
we know where the comments.
3.
Page 3?
Yeah, it's back at the top.
$39,000.
Yes, sir. We left that there for the meantime, as we would use that for any other PR that we use for our new in-house comms person. There's nothing budgeted in legislative, or excuse me, the city administration for. We use that for the materials, anything that we're producing from the city. Could be flyers, it could be pamphlets. We use all of those costs that come out of that particular line item. We can look at pulling that and putting it up under administration, or excuse me, under city management, since that's where the comms person sits. But at that time, I just left it there because we traditionally just budget all of our flyers and pamphlets and PR materials out of that particular line item.
Okay.
Like is National League of Cities, is that part of that one, or is that a different? Area? I just want to make sure.
I do not see, you're talking about community relations, I do not see a line item for National League of Cities.
Okay, so what are we, not becoming members again?
No, I mean, if there's a fee, it's embedded in here someplace.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure.
I can double check on that for you then.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Members for several years. For a long time.
And on those side items, the commission looks in keeping, those are added things that you.
Those are all in
Okay.
the existing budget.
Oh, gotcha, okay, that's.
23,000 number.
Oh, thank you,
all of this.
no, thank you, Mike, thank you.
Now, one thing to note on here that the CMRTA did request additional dollars, but I did keep it at the $38,000 mark. That's what's budgeted. If council would like, I can go and try to find the additional funds, but I kept it at the same funding level as was last year.
And that's been a pretty consistent number for a while, as I recall.
It has.
How much more did they request?
It's around $1,100 or $1,200. Okay. So we'll move on to some departments, starting with Wesley Crosby. We'll go over the departments that he sits over, and the staff will come up and. So the first one will be building
Thank you.
maintenance.
And I believe that should be on page 30. All right, thank y'all. This is David Parnell, building. This part of the budget is up and running. David, is pretty much stayed the same. This department has primarily salary in it for one individual. That's Robert Denny. We've got the COLA in there. For the most part, this has stayed the same as last year. We've got a few increases here and there for just mostly costs. Is there anything that you wanted to add to that, David?
The only thing I don't see here is,
Yeah, we didn't take it out.
you may have moved it, but looking at capital equipment,
Okay.
non-capital equipment,
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
we'll go into that later on.
Yeah, we'll go into capital later.
Okay, other than that, I
Okay.
mean, you fixed the
Okay.
personal expenses out of that for the technician, so that we were balanced back out. But other than the increase for material and supplies, just on cost and effect of what's risen in the next 12 months, it was balanced out to about 3% on those few items that was increased. So
And
it's just-
traditionally, so Robert, who is our building maintenance, usually sat under Mindy when she was the clerk. We moved him under David, since he is the building inspector, actually the building official. So he understands we're those contractors and material funds, so we thought it was more appropriate for him, for Robert to sit under Dave.
But the increase in salary is,
There is a slight increase in there for increasing pay, general.
He was
Like a-
given that this year, that was the increase from last year to this year.
Yeah.
He was given a raise through the year.
Robert's.
Yes.
That was actually 51, right?
Yeah, that's close. Okay. Y'all have any questions for David?
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
All right. Luke. This is Luke Godbold. He's with our Planning Development Department. We're going to talk a little bit about his budget quickly. That is on page 16. Let's see here. Make sure I'm on the right one for you. 17.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So basically here we've got salaries, some slight bumps here and there. The COLA, most of that has stayed the same in this department. We do have just general things that we've got that Luke has worked out through the years that he's been here. Little improvements that we want to make, mostly for like our business licensing part. We've got a lot of membership dues that are in here as well. That relates to, we've got several staff that are new in our code compliance section and also are learning to do inspections. So we do have a good number of membership fees in here. Those are important. A lot of ways to keep their training up. Conferences. Let's see, Luke, if there's something particular you'd like to bring up. We've got, let's see here. Most of the changes are, I know we do want to continue the facade program. That's $25,000. It's not in this budget, but that is run up underneath him. We'll probably talk about that later.
A lot of the increases in this department are compliance issues that we
Yeah.
had. For some reason, that was taken out a number of years ago. We had to put those funds back in, which is Lexington County stormwater, some EPA, and DOT.
And then the comprehensive plan.
We budgeted in there the update for the comprehensive plan for this upcoming year. It's due, so we had installed that budgeting in there. And then some economic development software that we purchased over the last several years. We put that up under this, and that increased the service contract.
Yeah, and we got building demolition services in here too, if we need that for property cleanup. That's $25,000 that we continued.
So you're going to see quite a nominal increase in our bottom line, but a lot of that, like they alluded to, is just due to transfer of budget requests from other departments, such as the building demolitions program that was in a different department. It got moved to our department. The stormwater, Lexington County Stormwater Consortium membership was not included in our budget last year, but that is a mandatory requirement as we are in MS4. So that was the 27,000 roughly. Yeah, so,
7, 8.
yeah, I mean, you're going to see, like I said, a nominal increase, but it's just due to moving monies around.
So how did we not pay for the MS4 last year?
Luckily, we were able to find funds for it this year, but it was not requested last year. That was before I started here. I'm not sure how to answer that.
That's what
Yeah.
It was paid, we just had to bite the bullet and pay it out of the budget.
Yep.
But it was not a line item.
I don't understand. It was in last year's budget or?
It was not in the budget, but we took the funds as a line item, but the funds did come out of the planning and zoning department.
Right.
They just had to do out a couple of things to get that done.
So we
We used our demolitions fund to pay that this year. We had $25,000 available, and we were able to pay it this year with that. But it was not that's not what we want to use that fund for.
No, absolutely. I don't understand. We did pay that last year, or we did not pay?
It was paid, yes, ma'am.
But we supplemented that building demolitions line.
How often do we demolish a building?
I think this year, we only exhausted roughly $900, and that was for a cleanup of a property. We didn't actually demolish any property this year, but there could be an uptick in interest in that program this year because we have a new building staff who, David Parnell, who is our building official, he falls under planning and development. He oversees code compliance, so whereas that program hasn't been utilized in the past, we may see an uptick in utilization. And we can get into how that works. We would typically front the cost and then put a lien on the property. But that's how that would typically work. But we budgeted $25,000 for it last year, only exhausted $900,
Okay.
roughly. Well, I say roughly, that was for a cleanup. We used, obviously, the rest of the funds to pay for the Lexington County Stormwater Consortium.
It hasn't been used very much over the years.
Gotcha. Because we haven't had the proper people in place to utilize it?
I mean, I think it could be a variety of different things. Being proactive on the code enforcement side helps with that.
Yeah.
Having the support of city management helps with that. We don't want to do it,
No.
but we have those tools in our toolbox if we have.
It's a last resort. We want to,
Resort to tear somebody out.
yeah.
Okay.
It's the absolute last resort, but
Okay.
it's good to have those funds available, especially for problem properties, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, when we started it, probably 12, 15 years ago, probably about 12, we finally got to the point where we had some funds to be able to do that, and there was a cross-section team of staff that ranked kind of the top 10 most dangerous properties in the city. You remember this fellow. And we actually got some really good press the night that we passed that, so much so that the guy who was number one on the list was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know he bought it at a tax sale, had no idea that the property was like that, and he took care of it after that. You know, we did have, in your district, we had somebody, there was a death because of a house that was sitting vacant, dilapidated, dangerous, and unaddressed. So we would never, you know, have a plan to needlessly tear some down anybody's property. But these were, you know, properties that were falling down, and, you know, we had code enforcement, fire, police, all working together to take a look at what was in the city. Hopefully, we don't have as much of that anymore, because we did do some work quite some time ago.
We always want the owner to be responsible for tearing their house down, not us. We won't be in that business like that.
We've had some challenges actually finding the owners. They're absentee owners on the state. They don't respond to mail.
Care of property.
Challenge.
Yeah.
Families, heirs, that don't know they own it. It's a good way to tax it. It's a challenge, but it has worked. It has worked.
I appreciate that explanation, Mayor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Mike, I know you said we could talk about this a little later, but since we got Luke up here, I would love for him to dive into the facade grant program because I'm seeing improvements all over the city. Well, in like the avenues or State Street and State Street and Knox Avenue. And I want to know more about it because
Yeah.
this is all new to me.
Sure.
Mm.
Just, you know, an overview. We currently have a $25,000 annual budget for facade grant awards with a maximum on a case-by-case basis of a $5,000 award. It's a 50-50 match program, reimbursable. So we meet as a facade committee. They would, you know, the ex-business would fill out a facade grant application. We would meet as a committee to decide if we want to award them their request, like I said, up to a maximum of $5,000. This past year, we exhausted all $25,000 out of that fund. You see the 4 properties on Dock Savage Drive, to include Duke's Pad Thai and the neighboring buildings working back towards 986 Knox Savage, all utilize it. It looks phenomenal if you drive out there right now. And then George Roberts Wine and Raw Bar utilized it for side grant as well. They all, just due to the cost of construction, were awarded the $5,000 maximum award. I know you inquired in email last week about what we're looking forward to. Just FYI for everyone, the town of Lexington and West Columbia currently have a maximum award of $10,000, and the city of Camden, this is what I gathered online, by the way, has a maximum award of $15,000. So just, if we could explore that, that would be cool moving into this next year. As far as an actual total budget amount, if we're going to move to, let's say, $10,000, I would like to see us increase our budget amount from 25 to at least 50, because we're seeing a major uptick in interest in this program, and it's really a helpful tool to have in our bag to push revitalization in some of these areas.
Now, all right, so when you get information out for that, do you contact the owners, or did you have one big community meeting here to educate people on the grant program?
So what I've typically done since I've been here is, obviously we launched our economic development webpage, and we try to market that on all of our social media platforms and as much as possible. And I've taken it upon myself to take as many real estate professionals, developers, business owners to lunch and just educate them on our available programs. Obviously, being a city of 14,000 people, it's hard to reach all corners, but I'm hopeful, and I know for a fact, moving into this next fiscal year, that there's much more knowledge that this program exists. And like I sent you, I already have a bucket list of properties that are interested in utilizing it this next fiscal year. But as far as what you asked about educating other areas, I would, any ideas you have for that? I've honestly kind of adopted a strategy of going door to door and just, hey, here's a flyer, here's a flyer. But we want everyone to have an equal opportunity to utilize these funds.
No, I'm happy you brought that up, because the only reason why I asked you that is because the first district is taking full advantage of it on 25,000. So I know District 2, District 3 and 4, we have some buildings that I think would look beautiful if they got a little facelift. So
and that's another point. There's certain corridors that are eligible, and that you can find that on our economic development webpage and see exactly where. The conversation could be had to expand those corridors if you would like to have that conversation.
Yes, and something I told Luke, I've had some constituents contact me about property off of Frank Street, and the property owner is very, very kind. He actually allows our police department to use a substation there at no charge. Very, very kind. Some constituents said, hey, is there any way he can kind of update things? They can see the trucks and stuff like that. I brought it up during the Beautification Foundation meeting. Sadly, it was no-go, but I talked to Luke, could that be an option? Sadly, his business doesn't fall within the overlay, but potentially if council takes it up and includes his business, there could be an opportunity for him to use that money to upfit his property, so then it can beautify things and constituents can walk past and see a cleaner business, especially with him being so kind to allow our police department to rent for free from the substation. So, but that's up to council to decide whether we want to make that an overlay district or look at other areas as well.
And it's an adopted ordinance, the facade grant program, and it spells out the specific corridors. But like I said in that email, all ordinances can be amended, right?
Yeah.
So that certainly is a conversation that city council could have.
I got you. Well, in my just from my personal opinion, I would love to, if there's a way. I know we want to give our employees a COLA, but he said we're already knocking on the door to that grant being used up already for next year. To continue, if we can find ways to increase it, I would love to explore that idea, because I know our constituents and our business community, they want to see our businesses get uplifted and beautified. And I know that lets our business community know, hey, we see you, we know y'all might need some financial assistance with doing that. So there's ways we can figure out how to increase it. I would love to figure that out.
Remember, the program is a reimbursement program.
Yes, sir.
So, they have.
Yeah, they got to spend the money, then they get it back and everything. Yes, sir.
Match. not.
It's a match.
I got you. So they're spending up to 10,000, correct?
No, well, they would spend up to, if they spent 10,000, they would be eligible for the 5,000.
Got you. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right,
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you, Lou.
thank you.
All right, next we will have court with Miss Rachel Alcoyne. I believe that should be on page 4. So on this, most of it stayed about the same. There are some various things. Is there something in particular that you wanted to highlight that's new
Everything
this year?
stayed the same. The only thing that changed was the municipal association went up $25 total for myself, my assistant, and both judges to be members.
Yeah, we
So
can
the
do
total
that.
increase for that is $25. We also had Zoom as a utility that we used during COVID, but we have had no one request Zoom in over 18 months. So we are going to go ahead and do away with the $250 membership for that. I spoke to Jamie Beckham, and we can use Teams to get anybody who needs to participate electronically. In the future, we would still have the way to meet that need. But we have not had anyone ask in over 18 months. So I think that we're safe in doing away with that Zoom, and that was the $250. That was that. There's nothing else that was changed in the budget.
Okay. And then while I've got you up here, we're going to just talk real quickly about things that we will need in capital. We don't, I don't know how you want to address the capital portion, but these are the requests that she would like to, if we can work this in.
So my courtroom is the same age as the police building, which is, I can't even tell you how old it is, but before my time. I've been here for 8 years now, and in that 8 years, I have done my due diligence in every way possible to update what I can for what I can. I went so far as we got new pews for the courtroom from a website called cheapviewspews.com. I did my best to find the best answer because our pews at that time were a hand-me-down from one of the local churches. Nobody could remember which local church. They had been there that long, and they were cushioned and they smelled, and they were broken. So I did the due diligence of trying to find something economical, and that is what we found. That was done in 2022.
Just talk about the things that you need.
And what we were looking to replace is indeed everything in the courtroom. So right now we have a judge's bench and a bookcase that needs to be replaced. The judge's bench falls apart. Mr. Robert Haynes has to retack everything on the regular. We do not have a podium for the police department. We do not have a witness stand at this time. I have a chair that I bring in and out for that purpose. The defense and prosecution table has probably been there for over 50 years. And it is nailed shut because people were getting cut on the drawer. So it has been nailed shut. So that is no longer a problem, but we would like to replace all of that. The desk and credenza for the assistant clerk of court, where the clerk myself sits during court itself, we would like to replace that. That is a hand-me-down from Lieutenant Default with the police department, and it is a totally different color than the rest of the furniture in the building. So we get comments every jury trial that we have from the jurors that it does not look like a courtroom. So if possible, we would like to utilize some funds at some point in time to do that. I priced out last year about $83,000 to redo all of that I just said.
And where's that?
Courtroom.
Courtroom.
Yes, down in the police department.
I'm aware, in our pack,
Oh,
capital.
I'm
It's under
sorry.
Capital.
Excuse me.
which is where?
Do they have-
We have the plan, we printed those out for you.
There's another spreadsheet.
It was under the spreadsheet with the tab capital.
It's the large one. It is on the first page, right in our court.
It's right at the top.
Okay, good, all right, thank you,
Yeah.
Rachel, I see that. So this you asked for last year.
In 2024, they asked me for a wish list, and they parsed it out to where they thought that they could fit it in. So it's coming up for this year.
So when we say we're ahead on revenues, it's just that we didn't cover everything we needed to.
I've been asking for a new building probably since I became the clerk of court.
I recall,
Yeah.
yes, no, and I appreciate that because for a lot of people, that's their only connection
Exactly.
to us. They're
Exactly.
only, they don't come to city council meetings, and, you know, if they go in and on jury duty, that's what they think about us. I
Y'all
appreciate
thankfully
you thinking
did
about that.
approve last year for the update of the jury room. So we got a fresh coat of paint, we got a new sink in the bathroom, so hopefully that'll be a good public image as well.
Good. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next, we've got the museum. Mr. Andy Thomas, so, Mark. That should be right here, Andy. I think it should be on page 13.
Might start with
Smaller copy, yeah.
I'll give you this one right here. Thank you, sir. All right. So here, we have asked for, in the budget, 26,000 extra for some pay increases and a part-time position. Those are the main things that we put in there for salary. The rest is pretty much general throughout, normal things that I know Andy would ask for maintenance of the museum and some additions. He does have different programs for A&H tax that we will go over at a later time, but those are all the standard ones that you've been doing each year. We have those in there. Let's see, Andy, you have anything you want to kind of go over with? Kurt?
So there's not really a lot of increase here, except for in the building repair expense. We are asking for a little bit more there. We've got some things that need some repairs, like the front of our porch. And also, there's a beam in our 1749 cabin that needs to be replaced. And my commission has requested some funding too for a genealogy and history of library space. So that's the big cost, I guess, that kind of takes that category up a little bit, which is the building repair expense cost.
The part-time ask is with only 2 individuals in there. If anyone has an extended leave of absence, it's very difficult on that one individual. So having a part-time come in and help support the staff would be immensely beneficial.
So we currently got 2 FTEs down there,
Yes, sir.
that half of part-time is technically always been there, but we just never hired it as far as I know.
Well, we looked over that.
It was not in last year.
We kicked it around for a couple of years, and we did some research last year. We could not find where that part-time was on the books.
As a potential position or as a hired position on the book?
It was not allocated on the books. There was no slot for that particular person, so the ask is for the part-time position. Yeah, we thought so as well, so we had to do a little bit of research.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right, and there's not really any capital in this. Most of the things that Andy does, the extra things he works on, comes out of the A&H tax request that we put in, that we'll talk about. Do I have any questions for Andy?
Just keep doing an amazing job with your programming. You're doing an amazing job.
African American Legends Night was amazing, and thank you for all that y'all are doing to get the word out about our history. Looking forward to some of the upcoming exhibits.
Thank you.
Page 8.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up Jamie's. Jamie cannot be here tonight, so I'll talk a little bit on this.
He's out seeing his kid, another state.
So they don't have a huge increase about $10,000.
I'm sorry, where are we?
This is IT, which page? did you say?
IT, page 8,
Thank you.
9.
Yeah, thank
So main highlights on IT budget, service contracts have increased due to just added network switch maintenance cost. And the yearly contracts, generally change after the 3 years. That includes, 3 years are usually included with initial purchases, so they do have to add in for some service contracts after that time period. Software expenses, he's saying they're down overall due to few decreases. I'm not sure what the EDR, MDR is, and I know you can speak on that for me over there about that.
So EDR and MDR system is our kind of virus detection system we have. So it's a program that scans all the systems for any malware, viruses that Slade wanted us to have for all the computers. And Duo is a multi-factor authentication software. So that's pretty much it for those two. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, we implemented that dual
Thank you.
authentication a couple years ago, and it's worked really well for us.
So that's mainly the things that are affecting IT, which is not a lot. We switch over and talk about capital. There is on page 2 of your spreadsheet, there is information technology about midway down. Those are general replacement costs for PCs and laptops, server replacements, switches for firewalls, general things that keep us running every day.
Yeah, Jamie and his team does a great job of searching around for costs for our laptops and PCs as they continue to go up. Fights with them pretty much weekly or monthly with them as they continue to bounce around with their costs. So as we continue to get more and more technical, the software of our PCs and laptops get more and more important and more costly.
And with the higher cost of the PC equipment, it's really exaggerated with the AI data centers down. A lot of computers and firewalls and stuff have AI implemented into them, so it costs more to make those equipment and buy it. So that's what's driving up a lot of the costs. You said 33% up since December? Yeah. So that's basically what it's talking about.
Yeah. He's also been having a little trouble getting some equipment whenever we need it as well.
It's an ongoing battle for him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any questions for IT budget?
Yeah. We don't have anything to cover in HR.
Yeah, okay.
Finance,
All right, so finance. Which one of you are planning on speaking of finance? Leslie?
Yeah, well,
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what.
I'm not doing great on my clicking.
Well, there's not much increase really, except for, maintenance fees have increased along with, health benefits, but that's basically the only thing that's increased from last year to this year's budgets.
And service contracts continue to go up. And we had to make sure that all of our service contracts were in there, and
Yeah.
it did increase from last year to this year. Probably the biggest increase they have in that department.
Why is there 3 people in the GFOA conference when there's only 2 in the department?
We have 3 in the department traditionally. We only have 2 right this moment, but we traditionally have 3.
All right, I think
Any
that,
questions from finance? Now we'll go to Public Works.
yeah. Johnny? Mr. Johnny Dillard, Public Works?
Start out the Parks Department, Johnny.
All right, so let's see.
14 or 15 is the page. I guess
Not
15.
16?
Is it 16? I have 15 on mine. I don't know why they got so long. The printing.
It looks like it's probably 16.
That's I can't read. It is-
All right. Johnny, want to start off?
There isn't a whole lot of change in the budget. It's pretty simple. The dues and memberships went up, and that's mainly because of me. When they hired me, I have dues and memberships that I have to maintain to keep my qualifications. Other than that, this budget's pretty simple.
So no improvements to our parks? No, nothing. Just curious.
Well, if we did, those physical improvements would be capital items.
Yes.
Got you, okay, thank you, I appreciate that, thank
This is just O&M operation.
you. Okay, thank you.
We're going to let your 3 capital items.
Anything else you want to speak on the parks?
You want to talk about the capital? We do have some capital.
You can. You want to talk about your ideas for the parks since you just came into fruition?
We've got, I'm looking up through the parks right now to see what the improvements might be. We haven't included that into this budget right now, but there's going to be some improvements. Mike has asked me to lay out a plan of action for Kennard Park, and I did that for him, and now I'm working on the Riverwalk, how we can improve that, the upgrades we need to do there. We started on the benches and picnic tables now that we had gotten a while back. Not sure exactly how long they've been laying there, but we've started putting them together, and we're going to start implementing those into the Riverwalk to upgrade some of the benches and picnic tables that are there. They're aged, and they're aged out, basically. We need to get rid of them. Yeah. Also, the bridges and stairwells that we have, some of those are aging out. We need to replace them. I've mentioned to Mike about replacing some of the wood with synthetic wood to get more lifespan out of them, to get a little more life out of them, so we won't have to worry about them so much. So those are the things we're looking at to improve our overall appearance in our parks and our usability. So
He's starting a survey down towards the Knox Abbott Bridge and starting to work down to come up with a plan.
Yep.
By that.
Does this plan include some general do's and don'ts at the parks? Because I guess I noticed that some parks in other cities just kind of have do's, what you can do. Hey, can you grill here? If you can grill, what can you, propane, charcoal? So I was just curious from your experience from working with other cities.
we do have some of those signs already out. There
Okay.
are some signs that you can't use fire in the parks and so forth. But yeah, we are going to upgrade, and we had talked about that as well, upgrading the signage so it's like as you go in toward the tennis courts, there's like 15 signs there. I think we can minimize that and maybe make one sign that gives us a layout of all our requirements and do's and don'ts,
Okay.
as you might say.
Oh, thank you.
Go to the Capitol.
No, the Capitol, I've got a mini skid, Bobcat, replacement lawnmower, and a towable lift. These are going to help us mostly at the Riverwalk. This is most of this equipment we use at the Riverwalk. Right now, it's very difficult for us to remove down trees, any kind of, even like dirt and things like that from the Riverwalk when it floods or the trees fall in there. It's hard for us to remove it. This equipment will help us do that. The lawnmower will help us in areas that are wet. This lawnmower actually mow those areas. And the towable lift will be able to be towed down there so we can get down there and trim up trees, things like that. We lost our bucket truck last year, so we're gonna have to have something to lift us. And it also will help us get in the other parks, trim trees, dangerous limbs that might have to be taken down. So I don't want to be the only, or the arborist that's on duty when a limb falls out of a tree and hits somebody. So I'm going to try to minimize that for sure.
I thought we got a mini skid recently, or was that just on the list for a long time and we never got it? Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
There is one up there, but
We
how
got
old is it?
It wasn't a mini skid, it was a regular skid. It's a skid, it's full-size skid steer. They use that for other things. And it's too big to get down on the river walk. It's too heavy, it's liable to break the concrete, so.
I think it's just, the piece of equipment we just bought, the excavator, mini excavator.
Oh, yeah,
That
that was a
may
mini
be-
excavator, yeah.
Last year, there was one of those in the budget that was purchased this year.
We don't have a piece of equipment that can navigate that sidewalk and the river wall and get up and trim trees.
No, sir.
So,
Yeah, I thought we had something too.
Okay.
We will now.
wait, that's 43,000?
96,000.
Oh, 96,000. So, obviously, I'm just thinking here, you know, patrol potentially could be on the Riverwalk. We don't know where it might be yet, but we got a lot of trees around the Riverwalk. This is vital to make sure the maintenance and upkeep of patrol, and when we get the Riverwalk floods all the time and it rains very badly, so this is a vital item, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And could this come out of, since it's regarding Riverwalk, could it come out of our H-tax, or it has to come out of our general?
No, I mean, I think we have multiple options of purchasing the equipment.
Okay. Okay, I'm just curious.
Sanitation next.
Any questions? Any other questions? Good? Yeah, sanitation, I guess.
Yeah. What's next? That's gonna be around, towards the end, 31.
If you look at it, most of these improvements are upcharges are for just things that we have to pay for, like solid waste sludge, equipment repairs that are just normally going up as everybody knows. So we've increased that a little bit. It's not a whole lot of increase in the sanitation budget, but there is an increase.
In regards to equipment repair, how much is that is in regards to the city sweeper?
It's very reliable. It's not that much in regards to the city sweeper. Most of it is the older rear loading trash trucks
Yes,
and the older grapple truck. And I think we will address that in the capital as well. Trying to get some
Since, how long have you been here again?
4 months.
So in your 4 months, how often have you used that city sweeper?
We use it pretty much every day.
Okay.
We're doing it, we've actually got a schedule now that we go by, and we're actually running it pretty much every day unless it's a real rainstorm or something come through, and then we have to adjust, but we do it every day.
Okay. Oh, no, that's amazing. No, thank God. You know, so with that, are we also using it? Because I know when y'all look at line item, when council brought it back in 2021 or 2022, one of the years, it can help with stormwater improvements. Is the person that's operating it using that option too, to your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Capital?
Capital?
Wait, next to the last page, down at the bottom, and then on the last page as well.
So as always with sanitation, the equipment is somewhat expensive.
Yes. If you look at the first line item that's on the capital budget request, it's a grapple truck, $256,000. It's a replacement for a truck. The truck that it's replacing is a 1999 truck, so it's 27 years old. Gets used a ton. We use those trucks every day, so it's getting old, and the replacement cost for repairs is getting more than the truck we should be putting into the truck. So the second one is a rear loader. We got another rear loader that needs to be replaced. It's getting a lot of issues. Most of the issues you have with your rear loaders are the suspension issues, because they're real heavy trucks, of course, so they have a lot of suspension issues. You're talking about $20,000 to $25,000 to replace the suspension on a truck. This truck is $238,000. It's replacing a truck that's was bought in 2002, so it's 24 years old. So, and then the bottom line is replacement carts. That we get a truckload every year to replace broken, damaged carts that we have to replace all during the year. It's $24,000.
Is the grant, I know we get a grant for the recycling bins, is that included in that?
No, sir.
Oh, so this is just when
Yeah.
road cars break? Okay, wow,
We apply for that grant every year.
okay. No, I appreciate that, thank you for that, Mike.
Any questions on sanitation capital?
So the grant expense for the roll carts under the budget, not the capital, that's just a hope. That doesn't mean that we get that grant, or we do get that grant.
We've been pretty consistent with getting that grant, at least the years I've been here, so it's been.
So what's the next area that those,
Organized.
Where the next distribution will be.
I know, I got it written down on my desk, ma'am. I'm sorry, I don't have that information in front of me. I can get you that information.
I'm sure Thomas knows.
Yes, he's probably got it written in his brain, but we do have a subdivision in mind. That's
I know some residents from around George Felder and Broad Acres, they require, and I've sent that email about anytime constituents ask, say, can we get a roll cart recycling bin? I'll make sure I get it, so just in case, I know they'll appreciate it.
our biggest issue with the roll carts is when we get them, recycle carts, we can't get enough to do like the whole avenues, and you can't really do half of it, and then you got half of them complaining.
Yes, I
So
understand.
we're trying to utilize them for subdivisions that we can completely
Got you.
finish. So
Okay. And we thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Next will be, we got fleet maintenance, garage, which is page 8.
not a whole lot of increase on this one. I think there was a budget adjustment on the service contracts. We went up on that just to cover the overage from last year, to cover it for this year. That's basically it for the maintenance.
Capital is on the second page, about a quarter of the way down. The
The first line is a service truck. Right now, they have 2 trucks on, for service trucks, the manager truck and the service truck. When they're out for service, they, if they need parts, they have to, and the manager isn't there or whatever, they have to take a service truck, stop what they're doing, go all the way. So they need another truck to make this more efficient, more efficient, so they can do these service calls that they go out on the road and do. They need another truck to make it more efficient and less time consuming on the street. We want to get them off the street as soon as we can. So that's the truck that you see on there. The other cost is the wash rack. We're trying to get a wash rack set up for the garbage trucks, maintenance trucks, any truck that we need that needs to be washed. We need a recycled wash bin that we can go and do it on. So we're trying to get, this is just for the plans for it. So
We don't have a, I'm sorry.
I don't understand, the plans are for the.
No, in order for us to get a wash rack, since we use grease and everything, it's got to get DHEC approved, we got to get engineered. It's a longer process than we hope.
Yes.
But the $10,000 is just to get someone to design a wash rack for us that's usable at the top of the hill. It's probably in the range of $50,000 that we're looking at it, hopefully in the near future. When we get that cost, we'll put that and add that into the CIP.
Can we add design on there just so we're?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
And then also the air compressor,
I'm sorry?
the air compressor. Also
Looks like
that's
it's into the next year.
Is that the next year?
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
he did plan it out for the following year. We've asked for everyone to plan out their 5 years on equipment replacements.
The
That's for next year,
6,500
yeah.
Next fiscal year.
He did mention that he needed that next year. Good?
Any other questions?
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Sir? Now for the vacators.
Afternoon, Council. Thank you again for the opportunity to talk to you about our budget. And before we talk about our budget, I just kind of want to give you an update on kind of what we've been doing the past year. So we're still, a one-station department, 24 personnel. Those personnel work 2 days at a time, and then they're off 4 days at a time. We have 3 shifts. Last year, we ran roughly 2,100 calls with 2,443 responses. So that extra number is calls that require 2 or more trucks to go. Our average response time is still around 4 minutes. Some accomplishments we made this past year. We were able to we were able to train 6 EMTs based off of what we budgeted last year, our plan from last year. We partnered with Lexington County EMS to have standing orders, and that allows us to give certain life-saving medications on scene before ambulances arrive. With your help, we purchased a replacement ladder truck, which should be here August, September of this year. We received a new squad rescue truck that we budgeted for last year. We got that in. We obtained Fire Safe Community for the 3rd year in a row. We maintained our ISO rating of 2. And we also received a $14,000 grant from BSafe that we will be using to purchase some extrication equipment for our guys. So, On to budget changes. We didn't have a whole lot of change. There is one area that we did increase significantly, and I'll explain that. So salaries and wages, we increased about 40,000. This is just to continue our plan from last year to get 100% of our department EMT certified. So that will cover the raises needed for their promotions to that certification. The next line item is overtime. So I don't have a whole lot of time to explain like how we get paid. It's convoluted. It's very difficult to understand. But if you see under the FY26 approved, that 126,570, that is just like part of their salary. We call it built-in overtime. So in the past few years, we haven't had any real overtime budget. So we've kind of always gone in the red for budget for the overtime line item. So this year, with the help of finance, we kind of created a formula to kind of predict that overtime rate. So that's why you see that kind of big number increase in the overtime. That's just to keep us in the black for this coming year, to make us look like we have better numbers.
More true costs.
More true costs, yeah. Our next, and I guess to touch on overtime, we have 7 personnel per shift, 1 supervisor, and then we have 3 firefighters on each apparatus. So in order to, based on our response model and, how we like to serve the community, we want to have that supervisor and 2 trucks rolling every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So whenever somebody calls in sick or has a birthday coupon or, some day off, we have to fill that spot with somebody to keep that level of readiness. So that's where our kind of overtime kind of gets eaten. And there are some ways that we can improve that to curb the overtime. I don't know if we have a whole lot of time to talk about all that stuff. I will move on. So next increase, just like everybody else, service contracts. The biggest increase came from Motorola, our radio service fees. They continue to go up every year. Next is our safety program. This is where all of our medical supplies and equipment comes out, this line item. So with inflationary costs of medical supplies, we increased this a couple of grand to cover that cost. Another increase is in our vehicle insurance since we purchased this ladder truck. Being it's so high price, insurance costs is going to go up. So we've worked with finance to kind of calculate those costs as best we could. And lastly, in the operating is non-capital for mattresses. This is just to replace our mattresses that our firefighters sleep on every night. They were last purchased 8 years ago, so it's time to get them some better mattresses so they can sleep at night. Any questions on operating budget? No, it's a lot, and I went fast. I'm sorry.
Is that 4,000 like you already know the company y'all get the mattresses from? I'm just curious.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we've already got a quote and everything, so just waiting on go.
Yes, sir.
All right, so capital expenses. So first is our bunker gear or turnout gear. This is what our
First page.
This is what our firefighters wear, whenever we go into fires or dangerous environments. So just to keep them consistent with previous years, we just continue to ask for that 30,000 just for replacements or if we have new hires, so we can buy them the proper gear. Extrication tools. This is also a continuation of last year's request. This will be for stabilizing struts. So we use stabilizing struts on like vehicle accidents or it could be used on say, buildings that are, have potential for collapse, just to kind of stabilize any kind of object to keep them from falling and making things worse. Our last ones were purchased 15 years ago. They're kind of starting to show some age. Next is something new. This is for a study on a new fire station. As you know, we share the building with the police department in Court, and that the building is pretty old. It's I think it's probably more than 60 years old. So it has its challenges. We have to purchase specific size trucks because they won't fit in the bays. So that adds additional costs for when we go to purchase vehicles because the bays aren't tall enough for the big apparatus. So we have to make specific engineering designs for those apparatus. But we kind of want to do like a comprehensive study. Look at the fire department. How well are we operating? Are we doing the right thing? Do we need 6 more stations? Are we okay with just 1? Do we need 20 more people? Just to kind of look and see where we're at and kind of hopefully get a plan of what the next 15, 20, 30 years looks like for the fire department.
And some of that growth isn't our growth, it's our surrounding growth. As everybody's well aware that our mutual aid, we work with a lot of other agencies. In 77, they spend an enormous amount of time in 77. Which takes them away from Casey Farm.
So yeah, it's just an all-in-one study, just to see kind of where we're going and what we need to do to provide a better service to the community. Next is a continuation of last year as well, the mobile and portable radios. Last year we were thankful to get the money for the replacement of our mobile radios, which all of those have been replaced. And the reason we were replacing them is because they were end of life, and we couldn't get parts for them anymore to replace them if they were damaged or quit working. So we replaced those. Now it's time for the portable radios, and we've kind of split that cost over 4 years. It would be really nice if we could just go ahead and just one-time thing, purchase them. That way we're not all, they're all on the same replacement plan. They're not spread out 4 years. But that would be my ask. Just go ahead and bite the bullet. Next would be station upgrades. So as I said earlier, it is an old building. When we started upgrading the station back in 23, yeah, somewhere in there. But the past year or two, it hasn't been put in the budget. It's kind of been left out. So we'd like to continue, to pick that back up and finish out upgrading the station. And we asked for $75,000. Initially, we thought that we would just use that to, do an abatement from asbestos and stuff like that. But Luke put me in contact with the people who manage the Brownsville grant. So they're going to come in and do a study and see if anything needs to be taken care of or whatever. So we're thankful for that grant, and we can use those funds so we can kind of put more into the renovation and not an abatement. So we're asking for $75,000 for that upgrade, and that'll take care of renovating our kitchen and bathrooms. Any questions about capital?
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
The needs study, and Phil, you're my memory guy, so help me with this. When we did the city hall study, we looked at it, and y'all might remember too. So do y'all remember we did a study, kind of what it sounds like you're doing here, where we looked at Okay, what happens if you stay right here in this building? What happens if you build somewhere else on this property, or if you build somewhere else? And, you know, when we looked at building somewhere else, then this became the courtroom. You know, there was some flow that happened there, but I don't think we looked beyond up here on the hill. Does that sound right? Like, we didn't look at
Yeah,
fire station and all?
That's all I remember. I don't
Yeah.
remember anything down there.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that doesn't need to be a comprehensive study again. I don't want to slow y'all down at all, so if it does, then let's not do it. But, you know, as we've seen, we're busting at the seams. I mean, I'm one of the only mayors in the region who doesn't have an office at City Hall, and I gave it up intentionally many years ago because we were out of space. And, you know, my meetings are mostly out in the community, so we have people who needed to not be in a closet and to have space to work and function. But yet, we have a lot of building needs, so if it's worth looking at all of it at the same time, and that creates some synergy cost-wise, great. If not, keep going with what y'all do, because that's really cool. The other question was about the SCBA's. I mean, I know many years ago, unless I'm getting my equipment mixed up, I mean, many years ago, everybody had different equipment, and that was incredibly unsafe. So we fixed that, but are we up to date with the equipment that y'all need to be safe? Because there's no, I don't care that the city manager last year didn't tell council everything that they were supposed to be told. Those things are non-negotiable. Y'all's safety is critical, and there should be no question about whether or not those things get done.
Right, yeah, so this is up at the SBA. Okay, yeah. So we're good until, I think, 2030, if I have my lines right.
Yeah, I see you've got it projected out there. I just wanted to make sure that that was not a monetary decision, but that's a, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, yep, so that's just a normal, yeah, that 10, 11
Rotation.
year rotation.
Thank you.
Chief, question, in y'all's building design, is there any thoughts with your senior growth in this area that we need to consider another station out towards 3 Fountains?
Yeah, so, you know, kind of our idea of, we probably could use two new stations to provide effective coverage for the entire, you know, bounds of the city. Now, we do have mutual and automatic aid, Lexington County, West Columbia, so we kind of take that into effect, or to account. That, you know, if we could get one more station, we'd probably be pretty good. But yeah, we looked at, you know, 12th Street, 77 would be a great spot. And then somewhere on the airport, near the airport, would be great. That would give us the ability to get to Hunter's Mill, that far reach of our district, you know, within the time limits. So right now it's, you know, 15-ish minutes response from here to there. So luckily, you know, through our automatic aid agreements, we've, you know, talked with Lexington County, and they're running those calls for us, you know, until we can get there, kind of thing.
So they're not getting a, I'm just going to clarify, they're not waiting 15 minutes. They're
No.
just not
No.
getting us, right?
Yes, right. Yeah, somebody is getting there within 5 minutes,
Yeah.
you know, anywhere in the city. Yeah.
So what, I'm just curious, would that 75, or not 70, the study, would that include that, or that's just here on campus?
Yeah, you're talking about would include like.
Yeah, y'all, I know
certifications?
y'all said y'all
Yeah.
potentially would consider that, but is that for that too, or just out here, just down here?
Yeah, that would be for out there too.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow, okay, so everything, I got you.
Yeah, so we could, you know, keep this station here.
Yes, sir.
And the study would be for, you know, out there.
Gotcha, okay. Thank you, I appreciate that, thank you.
And last couple of things before I, you know, walk away. So just want to let you know some challenges that are, you know, facing us. We talked about the station living conditions, asbestos, unable to house certain apparatus. So we just really just would like some support, with getting, something, looking at something. If it takes a couple of years, that's okay. We really need to do something, soon, just to improve the living conditions for, our guys that put it on the line every day. And then another thing facing us is retention. Just trying to stay competitive with salaries. I don't think it should be just a one-time thing. We talked about this earlier. Just a one-time look at this year, and then, it doesn't happen for another 3 or 4 years. I think it should be an every year kind of look at, study it, at least bring it up, at least, you're thinking about it and talking about it. But it's hard to, these guys are the public expects, a brain surgeon, electrical engineer, plumber, doctor, every time 911 is called, and these guys only make $40,000 to $45,000 a year, It's tough on the guys to, to do it for little pay. Retention, goes a long way.
What's the average in our county?
Average in our county is probably 46, 47, in that range. Yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, we are about average, but.
But obviously, I guess,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where we start getting tricky is whenever people are promoting and, the supervisors here kind of make a good bit less than other
Okay.
areas, so.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah.
Oh, thank you for that.
And then lastly, I know I'm running over time. I'm sorry.
Take your time.
Staffing, I mentioned the overtime, and a potential way to curb that overtime is to, increase our staffing, our full-time positions. If we go back to 2022, whenever I first became fire chief, I've been asking for personnel every year for the past 4 years. I get it, it's business, so I'm not mad or anything. But we do need additional personnel. We're below the national industry standard for, how many people we're supposed to respond on fire trucks. We only have 3 on the trucks, and you're supposed to have 4 to meet the national fire protection standard. So 2 people per shift, would be great. And we also need a fire marshal. I've kind of been doing the fire marshal duties and chief duties for a while now, and I need some help.
Has that position just been vacant or what?
No, whenever we split, it got absorbed into another position.
Chief, do you believe that we obviously have a full-time fire marshal? I know you're doing a great job, but you're probably not getting that double pay from it. That could have probably prevented some of these fires, like the one we had two weeks ago.
It's hard to say. With that building being vacant so long, I don't know if anything would have helped it.
But being a fire marshal, they can go in and say, we need to inspect things to make sure nothing just pops off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's fines and everything else that they can do.
Yes, sir. Because you're managing so much, and so I appreciate you bringing that to our attention for the last 4 years. Wow.
Just a little statistic, and I'll leave you, sorry.
Would you say that that is the most important full-time position, the fire marshal? Or which, like?
I would say they go hand in hand.
All of them?
Fire marshal, for public safety and the commercial buildings out here, and then obviously firefighters. And thank you for bringing that up, because I was going to give you this stat. If you increase the firefighters by 1, we could see an 11% increase for getting water on the fire faster, a 74% increase in establishing a continuous water supply, and a 27% increase in faster victim removal time if there was a fire. So that was a study done by the International Association of Firefighters. So I would say both positions are equally important, just kind of different aspects.
And we were on a plan before this last 4 year stretch to add firefighters so that we were increasing the number per shift, and then that stopped. But if we get to the 4 on a truck, does that help with the ISO rating, or are there other things that would get us to a 1?
Yeah, that would definitely help, yeah. It would count, so you have to get, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say it's 15 or 16 firefighters on scene within 4 minutes to be considered, you're compliant with NFPA 1710, which ISO looks at that NFPA standard as a baseline. So yes, it will help with ISO.
And if anybody's not familiar, the ISO rating, if the higher the number, the better. And we did a lot of work to get to
Or
a
the
2.
lower.
Sorry, the lower number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going the wrong way in my mind. Yeah, so we're 2 now. If we get to a 1, that's better. But we did a whole lot of work to get to a 2, working together, and that's really awesome. That lowers our residents' costs. Not from us, it lowers their insurance costs. So if you think about it, like if somebody lives out in the country, they're nowhere near a fire hydrant, their insurance is higher because they say that's a higher risk of not making it through a fire. So if you think about that city-wise, then it becomes these kinds of things. How many people are on a truck? What kinds of vehicles do we have? All of those different things. So while there's costs from us on this way, it actually should end up lowering our residents' insurance costs for their homes and vehicles and all this. So there's a benefit in addition to keeping losses. Right, and not as much loss, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that.
Chief, just a quick question. Is there a way that your team could run numbers to see, hey, if we get that 1 rating, how much it would help the residents of KC with their
So you usually get a national average, but it would be very hard to get an individual rating for each person based on insurance companies because they weight it differently.
What's like the average? Let's say we're paying 200. Just curious. If you had,
Yeah, I can talk with my ISO guy and see if he can give me a formula or something.
okay.
Get you that number.
Because that's important for citizens to know. Hey, council, we heard the cry. We want to get to a 1 rating. If it saves, the insurance costs are going crazy right now. So just making sure we're doing our due diligence to hear what you're saying, and that we want to help our citizens save some money wherever we can. But obviously, you're like, hey, we need to increase fire marshal, and you need more firefighters. So just saying, hey, we did that, and this is a result. You're saving more of your home insurance. Or does it affect car insurance as well too?
I think no, it's just home.
Oh, just home. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Sorry, Chief.
So Mike, should we pause here since we're supposed to start a council meeting at 5?
Come back after? Or we can just pause?
I don't know. I'm not sure where your plan is.
I'm sorry, say that one.
I'm not sure where your plan is, but we're supposed to start a council meeting at 5. so-
Right.
And then we need a minute to transition over, so.
Well, I mean, we're more than welcome to break, and we can either bring the police department back afterwards, or we can schedule another day.
Is that the only department we have left?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm fine with doing it, man. Chief?
Fine,
ready?
we'll do it.
Sorry, that was. I'm sorry, what did you say, Mayor? I couldn't hear you.
I'm fine with like letting Chief, if he's the last person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chief loves being quick anyway.
Well,
jinx it.
He said nothing. He said nothing.
it was designed to be really tight 3 pages of stuff that's going on in the police department. And I was gonna turn it over to Chief Vaughn and let him talk about the budget. But I will save my 3 pages for another time. And I really have 3 pages.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'll go ahead and jump right into the budget. Appreciate y'all hearing us today. Our operating budget has remained relatively stable. Compared to this fiscal year from last fiscal year, the only real increases you're going to see are associated with contract costs rising and inflation and things like that. Notably, the retirement, medical insurance, DJJ costs went up, things of that nature. Where most of our, I guess, other expenses came from was salary and uniforms. You'll see uniforms went up a little bit. That's because last year we didn't have the personnel that we do now. We have to be able to outfit them and get them ready for duty. As far as capital is concerned, we didn't really add anything new into 2027 for capital improvement plan, but we did update what was already present there, and we added for the following years after that. So what we did.
You're talking about the admin department, right? Or police in general?
We're talking about police in general. Right. So one of our primary priorities for the police department this year is vehicle replacements. We have 29 vehicles right now that are 8 years old or older. And if you aren't aware, I guess the lifespan of a police car is much different than the lifespan of a normal patrol or a normal person's car or civilian car. There's a lot more wear and tear, there's a lot more idle time, so they don't last as long. So what we're trying to do is get on a long-term phase-out program where we start to cycle in these new vehicles and cycle out the old vehicles. This year we are asking for 2 admin cars, 2 parks cars, 2 investigator cars, and 5 patrol cars for a total of 11 cars. I know that if we continue on with a decent number such as 11 for the next, capital improvement plan, we can get to a point where we phase these vehicles out and no longer have to get such high quantities of them because we'll have relatively new cars in our fleet. So that's the goal essentially. We are asking for drones in our capital improvement plan. Drones are very, very popular right now throughout law enforcement in the state and the nation. They've been proven to shorten response times. They help greatly when it comes to missing persons and searches, rescue operations, surveillance, tactical operations, things of that nature. So we did put that and 4 FAA certified drone pilots in our capital plan. We requested an operational video system. It's Tiger Surveillance. That's 12 mobile cameras that'll be used for investigative purposes. They're small and they're portable, so they aren't as limiting as stationary cameras that you have to post and leave somewhere. They're not permanently affixed to anything. So that's a great tool for our investigators and can help maintain our crime solve rate. So we also need to improve our property and evidence storage at our main building. As you know, that our main building is old jail cells, and because of that, it wasn't really designed for evidence and property storage. We were making the best with what we have. One of the big problems with that is we store a lot of narcotics, drugs, guns, things of that nature, and the air filtration in that area is not adequate for that. It's not up to our accreditation standard, and it isn't up to OSHA standard. So we need to go ahead and address that and get that air system in there and the electrical work that goes along with that for that area, if we're going to maintain that as an evidence room. Additionally, the evidence and record storage that we have down by the water treatment center down there, it's an older building. We keep larger pieces of evidence in that, vehicles, furniture, bicycles, things like that. We also store our long-term records there. That building is rapidly dilapidating over time. There's holes in it. The floors are starting to wear and give out. The roof leaks. We have already sustained some damage to records that are in that building that we are responsible for maintaining. So we would like to go ahead and start capital to restore that building to a reasonable level so it can properly maintain that. And we put that on for FY '29 and '30 in our improvement plan. So we have our scheduled rotation for firearms coming up. The standard for rotating firearms to their lifespan is anywhere from 7 to 10 years. We pushed that to the 10th year. Traditionally, that's what we've done. We're in our 9th year right now with the current firearms that we have. So coming up FY '27, '28, we will be looking to cycle those out and get newer firearms. That way we can make sure that we're using safe equipment and limit the liability that goes along with that. I think that's pretty much it as far as equipment. I did want to speak on retention as well. We have a great
Question, in regards to firearms.
Yes.
I know some police departments around our area are switching their tasers to the Taser 10. Which one do we have, and is that a thought?
Currently, we have the Taser 7s, and I don't believe that we're switching right now.
Okay.
I don't think we would need them. Need Taser 10s, the number of people we tase, we wouldn't need that.
Okay.
We don't use them a lot.
Okay, just because I know they said
The Taser 7s are more than accurate.
Okay.
More than adequate, I'm sorry. And the new ones are so much more expensive right now that it's not really an expense we want to.
Okay. No, and the only reason I bring it up is because they can get people out of further distance, so then, you know.
And you get more than one person with it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The Taser 7 still has 2 cartridges though. So.
Okay, I got you. I got you covered.
Speaking on retention, we have gotten our staff numbers back up from where they were last year. We were down, I think, 14 officers last year. I think we're filled right now, or we have one opening left. We were very proud of that. We worked really hard to achieve that. We'd like to be able to keep that. Right now, we start police officers uncertified, I think right at like 49,000. If you look at West Columbia, they start out around 53. The airport police department, they start out at 62.5. It's a lot more, yeah. Highway patrol, they start their uncertifieds out at 62,000. So it's really hard to maintain our officers, especially the younger officers who are just getting into this. They see they can go somewhere else right next door and they can make an extra $5,000, $10,000. So retention in mind, we can stay competitive with surrounding areas just enough to keep them here once we get them here. But I think Casey's a good enough place to work. We treat our people well. We have other benefits besides the salary, but if they're not willing to come here because of the salary, then we can't show them how great Casey actually is. So we are asking for an increase as well as for retention.
And that's before all the overtime they get with doing all the extracurricular events for our city and stuff like that.
So like off-duty events?
Yes, sir.
Correct, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. And I know I had a note here as well. I know we had talked briefly about road tubes for traffic
Speed.
analysis.
Yes, sir.
We did a little research into that and we consulted with a few vendors. And we determined that a data collector is more practical and it's more cost effective. And essentially what that is, I have one here, it's called the Star Track. Essentially what it is a box with a laser on it. You fix it to a pole, it can read data 4 lanes in either direction, and it's portable. So there's no tubes in the road, you don't have to worry about stopping traffic to get it set up. You just go hook it up to a pole. That can tell you distance people are traveling, speed, how many cars are going through that area, time of day, date. It gives us really good analysis that we can use for directing our patrol efforts and traffic enforcement and things like that.
I really appreciate y'all researching it. Just for clarification, doing my listening tour, everyone brought it up speeding in their neighborhoods, and Chief looked it up and he saw the tubes first, but obviously y'all found another cheaper option.
So one of the good news, I guess, regarding that,
the
good news regarding that is we were going to put it in capital and get a few of them, but it looks like we're going to be able to get one just based off of our line budget. So we're not gonna put that in capital right now.
Perfect. And would y'all feel comfortable when ever like presenting that data to constituents?
Sure.
Oh, perfect. That's awesome.
Good question. Don't our speed trailers capture that same data?
No, so our speed trailers capture speed. And I know that sounds silly to say, but they don't.
Do we retain and use that data?
We do, but what the difference is with this actual analysis, it doesn't give us the number of cars that goes by, it doesn't give us time of day, it doesn't give us like weights of vehicles. All that stuff is really important when we talk about traffic enforcement. This gives us speeders. So that's good. We can say, oh, we've had 10 speeders here, but maybe there's 100 cars that have gone through there. So it makes it a little bit more accurate and easier for us to enforce and see what we have to enforce. If there's 100 people going through there, maybe it's only catching 10 speeders, but maybe there's more.
This device will actually, you would put it in a neighborhood, like a lot of people said, let's say Moss Creek Drive, for example. They say cars speeding right through here all day long. When you put the device out there, it'll tell you exactly how many cars speeding, if they're 5 miles over the speed limit, 10 miles over the speed limit, 10 miles under the speed limit, and how many cars was going the exact speed limit. And we find out when we put these out, a lot of people, it's not the speeding that people think it is. And like Councilman Thomas was saying, we can take it to actual homeowners association meetings and we can put it out, hey, we put this out on several streets in this neighborhood and the cars are not speeding the way you think they are. Because a lot of times somebody walk out their house, they see a car running, it's running 50 by their house. And they, oh, everybody coming through here is speeding. But in all reality, everybody coming through here is not speeding.
And this will give us traffic averages as well. Like if we see an influx for like an event at the Speedway or something like that, it's not gonna skew our data because it's gonna have the times and you'll see clearly, you know, so it's a really good tool.
And this is in the budget, like y'all got this as, okay, perfect.
Didn't we had some license plate readers too, didn't we?
We talked about it, but we never purchased that system. Columbia has that.
We don't have ALPR systems in the city. I know Columbia has them. I know they have them on interstates around us, but we don't have any in the city.
We just borrowed them from
We just know the same, know the tickets.
borrowed them from the law or something?
No, they will do a trial. They will do a trial run with them.
Trial.
How many officers are still left in the department that have been there for more than 3 years?
I think there's 8 right now.
Any other questions for the police department?
These 3 pages I got written up, I'm glad to give y'all a copy of them and y'all see what I did.
Chief, just email it to it.
They kind of talks about that.
Yeah, it talks about some of the same stuff you're asking about with retention of officers.
Mike, can you email it to us?
Of course.
Yeah, I would love
I'll
to
email it to you.
email. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
That wraps up our presentation today.
Motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Please, do I have a second?
Second.
Call the question.
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carter?
Yes.
Councilmember Rose? Yes. Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, thank you, so moved.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah,
all.
so great to be with y'all. We really do love seeing